Subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to get all the latest updates.
Right now we are with Dr. Navjot Khosa. She is the collector of Thiruvananthapuram district. Now this district is among one of those which have shown a higher positivity rate, and as you all know, Kerala, the COVID cases right now have been picking up. So now let's move over to ma'am. Ma'am, just tell me one thing, the difference between the time when there was a surge in COVID cases and the scenario right now.
So we started picking up cases of second wave in around 3rd or 4th week of April. The entire month of May and June was a tough call for all of us. But fortunately, Kerala and the capital city, Thiruvananthapuram, did not face much issue. The challenges at that time were definitely this time for second wave, it was oxygen availability. Number of hospitalizations were very high. And of course, there was also a challenge with regard to morbidity and mortality. So we did face a lot of challenges, but we have come out of the second wave as our TPR is now constantly falling, and we are now at one of the lowest TPRs in the state. Okay. Right now, we are having a very regulated approach to opening up. We are trying to put scientific restrictions. We are trying to enforce social distancing as far as possible until we catch up with good numbers of vaccination.
You mentioned about scientific restrictions. Can you please elaborate on that?
So we have to undertake some criteria of how do we put restrictions and what do we open up. So the criteria that the state is currently following is regarding TPR, test positivity rate. It is basically number of positive out of how many number of tests you do. That also gives an incentive to test more and more people. And we focus, we have 12 different kind of criteria of whom to test, which involves not just people who are symptomatic or people who are with ILI-like syndrome symptoms, but also sentinel surveillance. That gives us the actually true picture of what is the number of positives in that area. Keeping that into account, the state has divided all the local bodies in the district, in the state basically, into 4 categories. Okay. So A, B, C and D. And people have now been very well versed that when their LSGD particular area falls into this category, what kind of restrictions will put in place. So this gives a very objective criteria. People have understood. So there is no chaos or mess regard to it. That gives people a sense of understanding what is allowed, what is not allowed. It helps in enforcing it better. It helps in better compliance. So,
ma'am, you told me that Trivandrum was one of those districts which started, the positivity trend started very late. Yeah. By that time, there was a chaos in the other adjoining districts and areas. So what lessons did we take from those areas which helped us in preparing for the surge?
So the most important challenge at that time was ensuring number of beds, hospital beds, and secondly, oxygen availability. So these were the 2 challenges. Personal challenge which I had put before me was that no person, no patient, no citizen of Trivandrum should breathe his last on outside the gates of the hospital, because we wanted that come what way, we should be able to ensure a bed, a hospital care for everyone. It was a daunting task, but then we had brought on board the medical colleges. We have 4 medical colleges, government and private. So we went all out with private medical colleges. We went all out with all private hospitals, big, small, all. We made very timely decisions saying that 75% of your total beds will be for COVID, out of which 25 to 50% you will give it to me. That means we will refer those patients to private bed, but the payment will be made by government. That was a huge, I think, decision that happened at the right time, and all the private hospitals came on board with us. Now, coming on board is okay, but then enforcing it was another challenge. So we took help of all my deputy tahsildars in the district, and those people were actually deployed in the hospitals, ensuring that the bed available is made available to the patient who's in need. That was one part of the system. Second challenge that all other people were facing was regarding oxygen. I think the state has done very, very well, because we had a district war room, we had a state war room, and we were in constant touch, and we were taking live decisions, I mean real-time decisions with actual, what is the requirement in the private hospitals and the government hospitals. So we immediately opened up actually stock room, oxygen cylinder stock room basically, and it is in the heart of the city. We took a college auditorium, and we started having our stock of oxygen cylinders, B type and D type, well in advance. So wherever liquid oxygen was getting time in transportation, because it's not available in Trivandrum, we had to transport from other district. So we were able to hold the fort till that time. And we took all the cylinders, all the industrial cylinders also into our possession, into our custody. We made them converted into, in a scientific manner, we converted into medical grade oxygen cylinders, and that is how we went ahead. So I think, fortunately, Trivandrum picked the peak later. It gave us ample time to prepare, but then it was a combined effort of health department, of revenue department, of police, of LSGDs, and all other department officials also who were working day and night in the field.
Ma'am, we have covered some case studies over here, and there are reports, of course, in other states, other areas also they were happening, is the overcharging. Despite government capping up the prices for important life-saving drugs, injections and all that, still there were private hospitals which were overcharging. So can you throw some light on it? What measures were taken to control that part?
So the government itself actually came up with a very clear GO saying what are the rates to be charged, and in case there's an overcharging, what is to be done. So that was a very clear-cut case. I also received many phone calls. We received phone calls from the people's representative also. So we had a committee formulated under the DMO, District Medical Officer, and immediately that committee will bring into action. And again, as I said, we had our own revenue executive magistrates posted at the hospitals. So we'll, in no case, what I would say this as a humble success of this was that nobody's dead body or the patient was not released pending payment. So we intervened very quickly, and the DMO and the DMO's committee will immediately intervene. We'll speak to the authorities. In one or two cases, we even issued the notice. I had issued the DDMA notice in that, giving them 48 hours time to explain why it has not been done, and compliance followed. So it was a mix of a very timely response if somebody is facing a problem. Secondly, enforcement of the GO which the government has come out with. There were cases, but we were able to handle it. And once that message goes that we will not be allowing any such kind, then the cases stop coming. So everybody complied with the directions of the government.
Ma'am, what was the status of the black fungus cases in Trivandrum?
We did receive cases, but they were not as we were seeing in other parts of the district, other parts of the country, I mean. The same percentage of people, because we also have very high population who are diabetic. But again, as I said, that most of the patients were treated in a hospital setup, especially when they were comorbid. So we did have lesser number of cases, because as we all know that unregulated use of steroids coupled with unregulated diabetes. So we did have cases. It was in 2-digit, but we were able to handle it. So we also very briefly faced the issue of medicine, but then quickly the Central Procurement Agency came into picture. We were able to handle it quite effectively. None of the patient had to lose their life because of want of treatment or medicine or drug.
Ma'am, since last few days, the cases have been again on rise in all the districts, and even Trivandrum is one of those districts where the cases are on rise. So what is the reason for this? Do you think the current relaxations are leading to this rise in case?
No, I think with regard to relaxations, I would always take this opportunity to thank the people of the district who are behaving very maturely, responsibly. We see that there are relaxations that we have given, but we see people with masks. And social distancing is one challenge that all of us have always faced, but it is a mix of compliance and enforcement that is working. Regarding the cases rising, it is happening in the entire state. Trivandrum is having the lowest TPR as of now. But as we know that we cannot be an outlier in this, as the entire population faces the epidemic curve, we may also have a rise in cases in the days to come. However, I feel that some number of cases will definitely come, because when we move, when there is mobility, you meet, social distancing reduces, so there are chances of infection happening. But we all have to see whether these are breakthrough infections, whether these are reinfections. Yeah. My current focus as the collector right now is that I quickly do as much vaccination as possible. So that is one weapon that we have, and we are focusing on that. Restrictions, as I said, restrictions and relaxations are quite reasonable that has been put, and minimum problem to people. But at the same time, we ensure that the SMS is followed, which is sanitizing, mask, and social distancing.
Do you see it as the onset of the third wave?
It's very difficult to say. For my district, we still have some time that for me to say that we have started in third wave, but we are keeping a very close watch. We are taking, again, regular reviews with our infrastructure side, private hospitals, with the medical offices where the panchayats are having higher TPR, with the government medical college, with the government hospital where number of beds, oxygen. We have already started taking review of all that so that we are not caught unaware. And preparation is one of the most important. Be prepared for, come what may. That is, I think, what helped us in the second wave. So we are keeping a close watch, and we hope with our vaccination status and people complying to our restrictions, we may not see, but then it is too early to predict anything.
Coming back to the vaccines, there has been seen a vaccination hesitancy among the people of Kerala, which is a very surprising factor. We've come across many interviews, many cases where even educated people, they don't want to take vaccines. Why is it so, and what are we doing to create an awareness so that maximum people get vaccinated?
In Thiruvananthapuram district, actually, I would say the opposite has happened. There is vaccine eagerness, and that is why in our district we have not faced that problem. We started from 16th January onwards, and in February itself we had conducted mass vaccination programs in the indoor stadium here, and the response has been overwhelming. Okay. And we have already crossed 22 lakh vaccine doses. We are amongst the highest in the state. Our per million also we are highest. We have already crossed 64, 65. So I think we didn't have that problem. Just after elections got over, actually we had convened a meeting with all the panchayat presidents, and we had actually said that you mobilize people. So the response from the public is actually very encouraging, and it is the health department actually that is, the medical officers, apart from doing all COVID management activities, they are also the COVID vaccination sites. So all of them are doubly working very hard to get it done. In our district, we are not having vaccine hesitancy problem. In the beginning, in the initial days, people had this issue whether they'll have any allergy, and there's a general hesitancy of getting a prick, or you may just have some fever. But we all came forward when we also took vaccines. We all came out and told people that, see, we are as normal after vaccination. We are coming to our office regularly. So I think somewhere the people's representatives or people who are in public knowledge, when they took it and came forward, it was a chain reaction, and everybody has more or less cooperated with us.
So are we facing a vaccination crunch like other states or other places?
So in the district, as and when we get, our immediate objective or agenda is that we quickly distribute it to the COVID vaccination centers, and we get it the doses to be vaccinated the next day itself. So within 24 to 48 hours, we try to finish. Our district's capacity is we can easily do 50 to 60,000 of vaccinations in a single day. Yeah. So as and when we get whatever the state gives us, we have a regional vaccination store also. So we give to other 4 districts also. So we plan in such a way that already our schedule is with us. We ensure that the logistics do not face any problem. The vans are there, vehicles are there, cold storage is maintained, and we quickly distribute it and get it done.
Okay, now talking about vaccination, again I would want to ask, you say we distribute it to the other districts also if and when needed. And many states we have come across where there are cases of fake vaccination certificates or fake vaccinations. Are we facing any of such problems?
No. So in the state, we have 3 regional centers. So that will be in Thiruvananthapuram, Ernakulam, and Kozhikode.
Okay.
So these are the hubs, and the other districts are the spoke. So first, the major chunk will come to us, and then that is distributed. So that is a hub and spoke model. Thankfully, nothing has come to our knowledge that there is any fake vaccination or anything like that going on. So I think more or less here things have been okay. Whatever we get, we try to utilize it immediately. That is the agenda that we are going with.
One good thing which we've seen in Kerala is the low death rate, and the rate of hospitalization has become very less. You think that is the vaccination effect?
Yes, as they say with the vaccination that, even single dose vaccination is good enough than having no vaccination at all.
Yeah.
So, and also we have seen cases in second dose also, in the second wave also, that hospitalizations have been less for people who were vaccinated, although there were breakthrough infections or reinfections happening. So somewhere I think that has helped. That is why, as I said, the weapon is vaccination. So that will definitely reduce hospitalization. Even now when we see a rising trend in the cases, again in some districts, and even marginal increase, even if in our district, the hospitalizations are constantly falling, which is a very encouraging sign. So I think somewhere this is a question more of scientific knowledge, but from administrative point of view, this correlates with the number of vaccinations done and the hospitalizations or number of severe cases, then mortality. This actually correlates somewhere. More research and more study and more data needs to be out for actually commenting on that. But as you said, that's an encouraging correlation that we have.
One last question. Our preparedness for the third wave.
So as I said that we are fully equipped if and when that third wave comes. There was also a conversation that it may have more of pediatric cases or children cases. So we have already identified which will be our major hospital, which will be treating children, pediatric cases. And we've also prepared our referral hospital also. So our tertiary care we have already taken to consideration. We have started preparing. In the month of June itself, we have started our gap analysis in infrastructure, in HR, in equipment side, in neonatal, in pediatric ICUs, in oxygen. So all those things are simultaneously going on. Second thing is regarding oxygen. For that, both the state government and the government of India, they have come out with elaborate plans with the districts, which all hospitals. Now we are all making the hospitals self-sufficient, so that there is a set of hospitals which will be having their own oxygen generation plants, which can sufficiently meet their needs. And another set of hospitals will be having the cryogenic tanks where the liquid oxygen can be stored. And the third set will be the cylinders. So already these preparations are going on. Trainings for pediatric care are also going on. We are keeping a close watch on our hospital beds. And the patients, again, I think another reason why we never had an overwhelming of hospitals was that very strict categorization of patients into category A, B, and C, which we call as triaging. Yeah. So only those who need hospitalization were encouraged or were referred to the hospital, so that people who can be treated either in the COVID first line treatment centers or second line treatment centers set up by the government can be treated there. Those who can be those who can be treated in a domiciliary care center, which is just a place of isolation where a medical person will be there, but we actually don't need hospitalization. Yeah. So this infrastructure categorization which we had, I think that has helped the entire state to not have an overwhelming of the health infrastructure, the medical infrastructure per se. We are again focusing on that. We have ensured that our CFLTC, CSLTs are well equipped. CSLTC, for example, we had taken a homeo college, we had taken an Ayurvedic college, so we are trying to do their medical gas pipeline system. So immediately if some oxygen is required, we have distributed and ensured enough number of oxygen concentrators. So all those activities are taking in place, and we all hope that there is no third wave, and the vaccination and compliance of people that make us come out of it. But in case it comes, we are well prepared for that.
So thank you, ma'am. That was the collector Thiruvananthapuram with us. Better preparedness for the third wave, lower death rates, high vaccinations, And as ma'am always says, we are ready for the third wave, and let's just hope it does not come. That is one good thing from Kerala. Yes, the cases are on rise, but the death rate has gone down considerably well. With Shiva Devnath, this is Nazia Syed for Mojo Story, Trivandrum.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.